right, it's Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Don Hickman. I represent District 5, and today I'm acting in my capacity as our Mayor Pro Tem. Our mayor is on unpaid time off since none of us get paid, but she's on time off on a holiday. So we have a special session today on our regular work session schedule because we have added to the agenda discussion and possible vote on local resolutions. We have nobody in the audience. We do have some people on Zoom. Thank you, Kathy, our IT department, and Sharon, our recorder, and we have Sherry Broadbent, our accountant, on Zoom, right? Okay, so roll call. We've got Councilwoman Peggy Dooley Baker, Councilwoman Kay Hoagland, Councilwoman Tia Shaw, Councilman Chad Booth, and myself. So we have a quorum today. All who can, please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now it's our tradition to observe a moment of silence. We've got a fairly packed agenda. Couple of things that we're going to discuss and vote on, one of which is a fire-related one. We have nobody. It is tradition in our and expected in our city council meetings that we offer the public an opportunity to make comment to us. We have nobody in the audience right now. IT department, do we have anybody on Zoom who would like to make a comment at this point?
Not at this time.
Blink of an eye, we're 6 months into this. And I think it's pretty cool. I've used, what a crazy year, right? It snows at Snow Basin on the 29th of June, and it doesn't snow at Snow Basin in March. So, and here we are with a brand new city, and the five of us, I liken us to J.R.R. Tolkien, Fellowship of the Ring. Those of you, we're all thrown into Riverdale. We don't know each other. And we've managed to do a lot, and I'm going to invite everybody to speak into it. But we've created land use. We in the planning commission have created the first land use code for the city, and it's good, and it's going to get better. We know that we have a lot of things we need to improve. We've created a municipal code that's now being implemented, which is cool. We've under contract everyone so far. We've got law enforcement and fire, and thank gosh they existed with the thing that happened up on the hill the other day. We've got engineers and we've got planners, and it's pretty cool. It's such fun thing to be able to create with you guys what we're creating. So anybody else want to speak into that while we're waiting to see if anybody wants to speak to us today? Here we are 6 months into it.
Oh, here.
I love it. Took a long time to bear the child, this baby we call Ogden Valley City. At times, I think we're still in the ICU unit a bit, and struggling to understand everything that keeps being thrown our way. But it's a healthy infant, and we'll all keep nurturing it, I'm sure.
Yeah, that owner's manual that you're handed as a new parent, right? And that owner's manual we got is new city council. There was no owner's manual for this. So I've tap danced. To anybody else want to speak into?
Well, I will just say that I think we've accomplished a lot in a little time, and I think that overall we've had some rough spots, and we still will have rough spots, but overall I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I'll just add to it too, might as well. Had a good meeting with Christina on the phone last week, and I think that next step of our our city and also we as council is an important step to, solidify a little bit more, where each of us are and be true to where we're at so that we can move forward, in a way that allows us to be, pure in our intentions as far as what we want to do for the city. And I think that's an important next step. We've kind of grinded through what we've had to and not had the time to do that one important step. And I think we've done a pretty remarkable job. That being said, to that point, but I do think the next steps to this, as far as gaining a vision for the city, vision for what the people want, and then moving forward with that is for me, it's the exciting part. You hit it perfect on that. For me, that really is the exciting part for me, because that's, why I live in the valley and why I want to see it stay, personally for me, how I envision it, but I also think why we're sitting here is because the people of the valley want it to stay in a certain way too, and hopefully we can grasp that and move forward.
And following up on that, I was going through my stuff and kind of packing up the 6 months and looking at starting again. And I found a page from a long time ago when we were doing vision that says, and budgets, it said that your budget should reflect your goals. So I think we have some things we need to look forward to in the next coming year, is we really have to outline what those goals and priorities are. As we look at wrapping up this budget for this year and moving forward to next year, and how we're going to allocate either the minimal funds or the enough funds to pay our bills that we have. So that is exciting for me to look forward to. We got ourselves established. Now it's moving forward into growing our vision. So that is exciting.
Here. I'm excited. Kathy's raised her hand.
I have Brian Carver, just so you know, and being the only person that spent as much time with you guys as you guys, I had a lot of fun working with you. And I think we made a lot of great progress, and it's been fun getting to know you guys.
And she is the OG, isn't she?
Yeah.
I mean, Sharon joined early on, but Kathy was the OG. She
I'm
was.
not hostage, you took that from Andy.
A lot of truth to
A
that.
lot of truth. Okay, Brian. Oh, sorry.
Say it's been a wild ride. And I'm glad when it's no longer a roller coaster and it's a kitty car.
Yes, ma'am.
And so but I think we've done some amazing work. Just look at everything that we've accomplished. And I know that this doesn't mean that the bumps are gonna go away, but I think, cross fingers, it's gonna get a little bit smoother from now on.
There we go. Here. So Brian, thanks for joining us. Do we have any members of the public who want to speak to us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, with that, I will close item number 2 of the public comment period. If somebody shows up and raises their hand while we're on the agenda item, please let me know, Kathy. And of course, if somebody comes in the audience, we'll do the same. So with that, we go to consent agenda, minutes.
No.
None were out for review. Approval of payments. I don't recall that there was approval of payment, but there was a review of the summary of payments, but not an approval.
Right.
Right, so, in the SharePoint, there was a document that showed things to be paid in the future. Hopefully, everybody had a chance. Tia, did we have any new business licenses?
Just bought them, like I said, about an hour ago. So,
We'll put them on the agenda next week.
yeah, I mean, they're there, but cause she has them there, but yeah, let's look at them next week.
Okay, since none of us had a chance to look at
Right.
it. Great. Legal over to agenda item number 4 now, legal update. Hey, anything new?
Yes, well, I will reiterate, where we are in make it brief. Last week, we got very positive news that the court had granted a temporary restraining order based on our petition for emergency relief. And that is very positive first step. To determine that, she had to find a reasonable success on the merits, so she had to find immediate harm that would occur if she didn't enter the order. And so for the time being, we're participating in truth in taxation, thanks to her order. The next landmark is really to be on July 2nd at 11 a.m. There will be a public hearing on the order she entered. And the procedural point is she will consider then arguments to convert that temporary restraining order into a preliminary injunction that will extend the mandate that we are allowed to participate in truth in taxation. The step after that will be, if we cannot get an agreement with the state to let us proceed, it would be just a briefing of the ultimate facts of the ultimate legal issues on the case and see if we can get the case dismissed favorably. But I'm optimistic that perhaps the state will entertain discussions without having to go there. One thing about being a new city and recognizing the work that has been done, very compelling for the court was undoubtedly all the work that has gone into setting up this city and all the many municipal functions we are all carrying out and that are jeopardized if we don't get at them. So that's a reflection of all the work we collectively have been putting in together. So we hope she continues to recognize that.
Any questions? Okay. Second District Court down in Elmwood, correct?
Right.
If anybody wants to go in person and watch.
It will be online actually, so we'll send.
Well, you said it.
We'll post,
Yeah,
we'll
perfect.
post so people can call in. By the way, we've had media interest of all the things we've done, that's where I got most inquiries, so I've been keeping them up to date. Primarily KSL and KUER.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you, Kate.
you're welcome.
Now we're gonna go to the proposed property tax impact schedule number 5. Sherry's online. Sherry, hi. It's good to have you back. You're smiling and it's good to missed you last week. There's 3 things to talk about today, and really, if there was, I'm speaking like there's people in the audience and there are people on Zoom. So, council approved last Tuesday, the 23rd, the budget, the interim fiscal year 2027 truth and taxation budget. The key is interim, but we approved a budget. And when we approved it, there were some questions during council, and Sherry took the task of editing not only the proposed property tax impact schedule, but also our budget. So Sherry has done that. And I am reminding the audience, virtual and anybody in the room, that we have copies of our new proposed property tax impact schedule physically in the room for the public to review, physically in our office space. And Sherry is going to briefly go through it. I'm not asking her to go through every line item, but she's going to show it on Zoom. So we're showing to the public that we talked about this. And Sherry's going to highlight the changes she made into it. The other thing I want to bring up is, if you looked at all the documents that were in the SharePoint that Kay put together, the May financial report was in there. And those of you not familiar with it's the equivalent of a profit and loss statement in private industry. If you're not familiar with how these things are organized, I invite you to get on one-on-one with Sherry and learn how they're organized, because beginning the 3rd Monday of July, so the work session before our 2nd of the month actual city council, we're going to begin doing a review of the monthly financial reports. They're going to be on the agenda. So we can decide whether or not we keep them as consent agenda. But at least for the first 1 or 2, I think we should actually look at these and begin to understand this is the real numbers on what's going on. But I invite you, if you've never seen one of these before, give Sherry a call, get on her dance card, and have her go through how things are organized.
I appreciate that, because I had a lot of questions as I read them,
Right.
because I didn't understand some of the terms. I didn't understand where some of the money came from, and my numbers are different, so Sherry, I'll be calling.
Sounds good. If you've never done this before, it can be mind numbing. And if you've done this before, it's mind-numbing.
Mhm.
The other thing I'd like is, I did appreciate this and be able to see it at the end of the month. I would like us to review this every month.
Yes.
That's gonna be standard, be on.
The third Monday,
Good.
the Monday before our second city council meeting.
And
Because
also,
Sherry cannot produce it until mid-month, so that's the
That's
time.
great. It's month is all I ask.
Yep. Okay, so Sherry, please briefly review the entire proposed property tax impact schedule. Just start at the top and go down. You don't read every line. And I'm doing is I'm showing and recording for the tax commission that yes, we did this. So go through and highlight the changes that you made, please.
Well, first, I want to apologize for not being able to make it to the last meeting. I am so sorry. I was too sick to come. But for our proposed property tax impact schedule, the updates we did were to help update it because we had a reduced TAN amount and there was also a decrease in the contracted police services amount. We have also adjusted wording to, because it is the unincorporated services fund rate that is that 0.00159. So we have updated the wording to reflect that.
Can you
We
hold there for a
also-
second?
Yeah.
As we communicate with people in the valley, that's an important thing. We're not changing Ogden Valley's tax from here to here. We've inherited unincorporated Weavers and we're creating our first one, which is 500 and whatever the final number, 508% higher. Is that nuance?
Yes, but you're using the word unincorporated, that 0.00000
159.
is what it was prior to us becoming a city.
There we go. And so that's what we all paid under the county. And that's the baseline that we started with. We are creating our first one, which will be, if we do what we say, we're gonna say 506% higher. Okay. Go ahead, Jerry.
And then we've also adjusted the formatting a little so that it's easier to see the actual impact to a resident. So you can see it's easier to see that it's going from 106.90 per resident to 647, and you can see the difference. So we've just updated the formatting also so it's easier for the residents to see that that percentage increase is just on the city portion of the tax. It won't be on their overall bill, that big of an adjustment. And then I wanted to, yeah.
Sherry, I had a question asked this weekend on that, and I wasn't able to clarify the exact answer for them. So that portion of the point, the 159 and then the proposed at the 963, within the property tax that's coming from, where is it coming from, I guess? Is that an answer that can be answered, a question that can be answered as far as the person was wondering why it was only 5 or this, I gave him the approximate of 700 from $70 to whatever it was prior to. So can you say where that percentage of that is coming from? Because obviously that's not all their property taxes. They're paying a lot more for property taxes.
Let Jerry answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on our previous proposed impact schedule, it said we were going to increase the taxes like 8%, but that was the whole tax rate. So this is just on the city's portion. It's really confusing. So that's why we did adjust the impact schedule this way, so you could see that this increase was just on the city portion. Because your overall tax rate or tax is probably over $1,000, but the city portion is taking place of the unincorporated rate on when you get your tax statement. You will no longer have that unincorporated service fund rate, and this rate will replace that section. Did that answer, maybe?
But where does that money come from? Out of what fund?
So,
Line?
yeah,
What
So-
is the line item that would?
Yeah.
In the
Let
total
me,
budget?
give me one second.
In the
Let me see.
budget
No,
or in,
within the property tax.
so,
What in the
right,
property?
which is why I asked Sherry to go back up to the beginning of the document, Sherry.
I do
If-
have a sample of one that will help it. Let me
There we
bring it
go.
up quick.
I recommend either consider printing out
I know.
yours,
Yeah, I wish we had a sample of one
Right.
here to show that.
Yeah.
but we do, we just don't have it today.
I
Because we
can,
have shown one several times in city council. So the way, there we go, right there. So.
I can update this. And we can even put this on the property tax impact
Right,
schedule so you can
so
see.
hang on there, Sherry. So this mirrors what every one of our property tax looked like in 2025, except row 41 would say unincorporated
Yeah,
county tax. And that's the highlight. Say to people, see this teeny little line at the bottom? That is what becomes the city tax.
And it just.
That's all it is. So the 500% increase only applies to that line, not to the whole
Right.
thing.
And it's been in the paper.
And
And
no,
so.
no, no, I understand that. The question I'm getting asked is. Who dictates that, the other taxes, the Weaver School District or
Oh,
so on?
All the separate taxing entities.
Right.
There
They set
are,
their own.
No.
absolutely not.
Right, I know, I knew that, I'm asking that just to, cause they were questioning on that, like, okay, well, what are you gonna do with this tax? What are you, because
So-
when they knew that one increase. They were being pissed, they were coming to me saying, well, what happens with, I'm just looking up here, the parks one, the fire district one, the paramedic one, and the Morgan Hill.
If I may just,
Yeah,
in a
please.
statement say. There are as many different tax entities as there are lines on your tax bill. And each of those entities independently decides what their tax is.
Good.
And if any of those. Propose an increase, typically. They will have to go through truth in taxation, as did the Weaver School District last year.
They have public.
Yes.
So
I
we,
thought that just as.
we the city have no direct or indirect responsibility for any of this. We the city can make our opinions known to all the other taxing entities, but the taxing entities are the ones who change those tax rates.
Yeah, just a clarification, I'm sure you guys are all ahead of me on this, but it's been a little bit confusing on it because all people are saying is 506%.
Right.
Yep.
And so they're looking at the property taxes and thinking, well, I'm paying this much in property taxes, right? You see, so the breakdown of this, and I know we've seen it, Sherry, but for us slow people, it's sometimes good to have that redone a few times for me, so. And
No,
also,
I love it.
the thing for me is, so when I'm able to answer it to other people, I'm better at it.
So
I understood it, but I didn't understand it in a way that I could explain it.
print out your own personal one and stick it in your wallet or on your iPhone, you pull it up and say, this line right here is what we're talking about. That's the only one.
I
There you go.
point of view.
Name, my
We
information.
could put a chart at the bottom of this that shows all of the different tax rates, but the one problem I ran into is several other entities might be proposing an increase and I wouldn't have those reflected. So that's part of the hard part about putting all those on there. But I believe in the county advertisement, when they do that, it will have everything together.
So out of
But I
my,
do really appreciate the different points of view.
yes, out of my complete tax bill, this is a minor line,
2%.
2%. Where does the rest of it go? To these entities?
Yes.
It's on this song.
Yeah.
Well, it all goes to the fire, the school district, the health
The
department.
cemetery, yeah.
The only
That we provide to the city to allow us to function, right?
The only dollars that come directly to us are what will be Ogden Valley City was unincorporated Weaver.
Right, so it doesn't go anywhere else but those.
Yeah, now we benefit from the other ones. We have a fire department out here and public health. But the only dollars that come to here to do the things we do, sheriff, planning, engineering, roads, they come from that one.
And I also think the city will deliver a big bang for the buck that it gets in property taxes. We're the really front facing service to the resident.
Sherry, continue down through we need an acronym for this thing.
Impact
PIPTIS.
So the rest of it goes over the changes and if the tax increase, if we're not able to go through that, where that money is going. But the big one we want to say is that if the city is allowed to go into a truth and taxation process, there is still going to be another public hearing. There'll still be more time for the public to give input and it will be voted on in August. So that's the important thing to remember is that there's still time for questions. There's still time for updates. So if you do see anything that we can update to make it more clear, please let us know and ask questions. I would like to review the budget book updates. Chris,
Yes,
if we have
please
any.
pull up the budget book.
So this is a new section we added after we got some feedback. So I pulled some of the city's rates in Weber County so you could see a comparison on where our proposed rate lands. So,
And see what she did there? I had her change 15 to be the one that used to exist under Weber County.
Yes.
So that's where we were under Weber County, not we, but Weber County. This is our proposed one we're gonna create. So Weber County was the cheapest, whatever the right word is, the lowest of the taxes.
Yes.
And we're middle of the road. We're nowhere near the top. You look at South Ogden, they're what? 2.5
They
excess.
provide a lot of services, yeah.
So that's where we sit.
one
Continue.
thing to note is that cities use a combination of like sales tax and property tax. And so Ogden Valley City does not have a lot of sales tax. So that's also something you want to consider when comparing rates to rates, is that there is limited sales tax right now. But just at a quick glance, I thought this would help people see that 0.009 is kind of hard to read. Have to make sure you have all the zeros in there. So hopefully this helps everyone and they can compare rates. Are you guys done looking at this one? You're ready for the next one?
Continue.
Okay. I'm trying to keep this brief for you. Also asked for more information on the personnel be added. Before we just had the bigger numbers with the wages and benefits all together. I've put a breakdown so you can see where I got the numbers from. And I do want to add, just up here in bold, these are not final numbers. The city council still has time for decisions. Even with healthcare, I put $20,000, but the council has a choice. They may want to cover 100% of the employees' healthcare. They may want to do a 50-50 split. You may get good rates. You may get, harder rates. So there's a lot of choices. There's a lot of information you'll still need to receive. So these are placeholders in the budget. So I just wanted to make sure that was reflected, that these are not set in stone, but we did need to save money in the budget. So hopefully this helps clear some of that confusion up that was there in the budget before. I also put in a section on how those numbers are split within the budget, because they are split based off of where the time is spent. And so that's also reflected in this. And then we've updated the merged budget onto this. And then I've also added the property tax impact updates. So if you have any more ideas on changes, things you'd like to see in the budget book, or if you've heard more from residents, please let me know and we can get it adjusted. We want this to be a tool that people can use to see where we're at and what we're
Sherry, okay,
proposing.
just
Yeah.
clarification, you've always reminded us budgets are living things. And just as budgets change, as you get more information and experience, this may change and be fine tuned and may be updated as you just did with the impact schedule. So you'll keep a notation of, updated as of what date. So we know we're looking at the right one. Great.
That's why I'm very careful not to call this a final budget, because I'm used to doing 2 to 3 budget amendments during the year as more information comes, as big projects come, more decisions are made. So a budget should be looked at, a budget should be changed, you should be using it. So that's a good sign to me, is when you're using a budget and you know when it needs to be changed. So.
Let me go around the room and see if anybody has questions of Sherry. Peggy, do you?
No, right now.
Okay, you ready to point Tia?
I don't, thank you, Sherry, for breaking it down. I think it's a little clearer for people, and thank you for that.
Chad?
When do we get into the more, I know I keep asking this and I asked it last week, but the more of the nitty gritty of the left side of the budget, if we go to the truth and taxation side, like when does that start happening?
How we're gonna actually spend the money?
Yeah, exactly. So we have all those line items there, when do we get in the nitty gritty of defining those better? Just so I have it on my time.
Sherry, that's not yours to answer. And the reason
I'll
I
be
tell
there at
her
the meeting
that
when you
is
tell me
because
to.
we're the ones who have to say how we're gonna spend this money. What we created is line items in a budget. over the course of the next, what, 4 or 5 weeks, you talked with Christine, I think we all have, we're gonna define and eventually decide how we want to organize the city. From that will come decisions on the manpower side of it, please. And those are really decisions for us to make. Sherry's gonna say, here's how much you got in the budget, you can move within these boxes, you can move stuff around. And she'll keep us honest that way, but it's the five of us who've got to make hopefully not too hard, but some of them may be hard decisions come the end of July. Is that?
But
I
I
can provide you data if you want data.
Oh, well,
I can provide data and information, so.
so Sherry, do you
Yeah.
know the date that the tax commission makes their decision, assuming we've done truth and taxation correctly?
No.
And the reason I asked the question that way, Chad, is we've got this interim budget with the skinny version of it, which come 1st of July is our budget. I mean, we have to spend money. In October, when tax commission meets and says, you did it all correctly, you are now allowed to impose this tax that will be paid in December, because that's when we all pay our property tax. Then the larger of the two become what we can operate against. But before then, we're supposed to stay on that skinnier one because we don't know for sure we can raise the tax.
And also, the numbers can change in that budget. They don't necessarily have to stay exactly what we've named them, and, right? It's a living document.
True, but hold that thought. Chad, did that help answer the question about October?
Yeah, but to follow up with what you just said there. But there is a point where that becomes set, where it's no more a living document. So I just wanna make sure, and I'm basing this a little bit off of the citizens who have expressed concern about it, and then also looking at that, there's some big numbers on the left side, and I just wanna make sure that we're not. We spend an adequate amount of time, us being, and I keep going back to this, and some of you may not consider yourself that, but for, as a whole, we're fairly green and new at this. And I just don't wanna be surprised with it and then not having the answers to the residents to say, this is why we've done this.
Don't we have to approve a budget in August, Sherry?
Yeah, so the public hearing on the 11th of August is the formal
Yes.
public hearing for truth and taxation. And then after that, we vote again on, we've heard from the public, we change it or we don't, we vote on it. And that is what goes to the tax commission on whatever date after the 11th of August it goes. To Tia's point, it is a living document. Even after October, we can go in and change budget. We're not gonna be able to change our tax rate. Because that gets set in stone sometime in August or October.
For this year, you can change
What's
it the
that?
next year. It
Right.
is, every year you have the opportunity to change it.
Right, but
during
how we spend the
budget
money,
process.
we can choose not to spend it all. All of that is a living document. To include the hard decisions that Craig brought up, okay, guys, you sure you really want to spend $200,000 on?
Craig and I just throwing Craig in there, I mean, I have people who've been listening to it, express to on the left side, so.
So they,
Again, I'm saying it mainly because my inexperience with finalizing something like this, especially for a city, I don't know if any of us have ever done that, so I did, and so I've done it for a business. We're not, at the, we've got 7,000 individuals who are wanting this to be done right, so I just want to make sure that we're on top of it.
I agree too.
There's some excellent training again on the League of Cities and Towns website. They have both a TNT specific set of resources, as well as training that was provided for new cities probably about 2 months ago. So I'd say tune that up because they're experts in simplifying it for all people like us. And just remember, most cities get newly elected people on their council, and so at every city, there's probably people learning this for the first time as elected officials.
And I will foot stomp, Sherry works for all of us. Set up one-on-ones with Sherry and learn if, ask questions if you don't understand how the budget works. Sherry, anything else you want to tell us?
No, I appreciate all of you, and just let me know if you have any questions and I'll get information to you.
You are hereby approved to put these on the website, work with the IT department.
I need to update a couple.
Yeah, do those final little edits you were gonna do and
Tools,
then post it.
I'll get the final version out. Okay, thanks, guys.
Yeah. We might
Appreciate it.
we need to point people to the.
Yeah, so the final updated version of this, hopefully by close of business today, will be out there. And I think the budget book is a great document because the way she's got it now, a lot of the questions are answered in there. This is what we're talking about.
Right.
So my nickname for Sherry, by the way, is Platinum. She's worth her weight in platinum, not just gold. So Platinum, you did a great job again. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
If you're a glutton for punishment, you can hang on and listen to us do other things, but you're free to go if you want.
I'll crunch my numbers. Thanks,
I
guys.
thought you would.
Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate the clarity.
Thanks, Sherry, glad you're feeling better.
Thanks.
With that, we'll go on to item number 6 on our agenda, land use and planning update. Chad, Peggy, Brian. My memory is the one thing out there is the shoreline issue. What else is going on in planning world right now?
I think that's it. They have,
Other than they're cranking through permits and stuff.
well, they're starting. Brian is working with them on the agenda. And I think you've set a date for the hearing for the shoreline, Brian?
Yes, that's correct. The public hearing to discuss changes to the shoreline zone will be on July 14th at 6 p.m. Notices will be going out by the end of this week.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all organized and done, and
The only other thing that you brought up last week in our meeting, and sorry I missed the Friday meeting, I don't know if we, but you asked about, and you said that eventually we're gonna have to get a method that better defines the plan development agreements moving forward.
Oh, yes. So Weber County had what they called the master plan development overlay zone. In my opinion, it wasn't really so much of a zone as just a way to illustrate what neighborhoods or subdivisions had master development agreements, and it was not up to date, it was not current anyway on the Weber County map. So we deferred adopting that language prior to lifting the moratorium. However, as the city moves forward, I think it would be wise to consider having a methodology in place to enter into master development agreements where the city council feels it's appropriate. So I can work with the planning commission on reviewing some options for that language and getting that ready for your consideration.
Yeah, thank you, and I think that's gonna be good. The add-on to that, after we talked about that I think is gonna be hugely beneficial for especially those who are responsible for the planning, but I think everyone would want to know this because I think we're all getting those types of questions is overall in the valley, you know, when we have a MBA or we have a development going on, things like that, just having a good understanding of what's going on in each one of those. I know for me, maybe the others don't care as much. I'd love to be able to know what's going on in each one of those places, just to a degree to where I can be educated enough to be able to explain that to our residents as far as, you know, a perfect example, and I'll just say because it's the one that's in my district is the Kobe area and the Eden Crossing area and what's going on with the trucks coming and going, and when people ask questions as far as the dust goes and how big the pit's getting. I know we don't like to call it the gravel pit, but in essence that's what it is.
It looks like a duck, yeah.
Yeah, it's under a conditional use permit acting as a gravel pit. And so that's an example of that. I'm sure on Peggy's side she would love to have a better understanding of the whole Nordic going ons, and I too would like to have that because I can answer questions on that too. So I think that will help with that, Ryan. And I know it's not an immediate thing to put us to, you know, super high level of understanding with everything, but something that I want to continue to educate myself on the overalls of the valley. So
okay, yeah, that's something I'd be happy to help prepare some summaries of what the current master development agreements entail that hopefully could help answer some of those questions. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that would be key. And Peggy, is Nordic doing monthly citizen things like we talked about back in March?
I have not heard of one yet. Brian has been great to communicate. Nate has stepped up and talked to neighbors, but it would be nice to do a community thing too. So,
What Peggy and I are talking about is Peggy and I and Nate and Brian all met with the Nordic Village development crowd back in February or March. And one of the things we suggested to them is they should host a town hall and tell the residents what's going on. And maybe we reach out to EVO and suggest to them that they do the same thing. They can do it as part of a city council, but I don't know if we would want to do that, but they should host a town hall and say, here's what the next 3 months look like. And one of us can reach out to Shane and see if he would do that. To me, that would be huge. And then people can ask the hard questions of them. And you want me to do that, or you want to reach out to Shane, or we can table and talk about later?
Yeah, let's table and talk how we're gonna do that, but to that follow-up, I think is a perfect example of just having more clarity, not just for the 5 of us, but for the residents at
Right.
as well.
And it'll help us all, because we all get questions daily about these things.
Yeah.
and most of them are surprises. So if they know things are coming, if they know things are happening, people can plan around it.
One last thing on that, Brian, is I know we discussed possibly the need for a short training with Tyler on city inspect, and how broad do we want to go with that? Thoughts on that, as far as, is that a needed thing, as soon as possible?
I
Or
don't
we
know.
roll?
Yeah, I don't know about as soon as possible, but I think it's something we ought to put on the calendar in the next month or two. I'm working with them right now to get all of our various land use application forms online. Right now, we can accept building permits and excavation permits, but I'm hoping to be able to include easement applications, subdivision applications, all of the different activities that we'll be involved in to try and get them into the system. But yeah, once that's in place, I think it would be really wise to have an opportunity to sit down and talk with them.
I haven't heard a lot of negative on it. In fact, if anything, I've heard a lot of positive. Just yesterday, I spoke to one of the residents who's doing his permitting right now and building a home. And he was raving about the system. He was raving about the guys that he was working with Tyler and everyone below him, with you, Brian. So I've heard, once we've moved past the moratorium, I've only heard good things. So I hope everyone else is at that point.
Well, good. Thank you. I appreciate hearing that. I'll share that with Tyler. But yeah, we're happy with where we're at so far.
Oh, sorry, Brian.
Nope.
Interrupting.
Please go ahead.
Peggy has the floor.
I think in the meantime, what we could do when we have questions is just direct people to the City Inspect website. So if everyone has that.
To our website with the
With the link
City
to City Inspect. So send them to the website, send them to the permitting, and send them to
Right.
Tyler, and they're great and they've been responsive to work with them and work through it. So if we have any questions in the meantime, I think that's the
We found that through with code enforcement too. When people bring up, you can just direct them to the website and it's.
And there's a fillable form, yes, and we did add a requirement for a phone number on the code enforcement because Rayanne was having trouble contacting people, so we made it a requirement. So if people ask, we just need their information so we can get in touch with them to investigate. So yes, the website, Kathy, is rocking it with those pages, so people are really being able to navigate music.
I want to put to what you've observed and you've observed, people, it's working and it's working very well. I've heard 0 complaints about early on, yes, because they didn't understand it. But what Beacon Code's doing for us, I'm thrilled with, both on the permitting side and it's just, we chose the right thing. I'm thrilled. This is a success story on what Tyler and Robin and Rhiannon are doing, and Brian.
Yeah.
So,
And they're very responsive.
yep. Brian and Chad, I'm gonna remind you guys, there's a suspense of later this week for this final revised fee schedule updating thing. And you, because you're responsible for those guys. So let's get this sucker done. And get it done in a way that makes sense to us and to the citizens, so that next Monday we'll look at it and hopefully next Tuesday we'll vote on it.
And could you loop me and or are you in that discussion as well for business license?
This is nothing to do with business
This is
licenses.
for STR licenses, which are.
This one is the fee schedule for building permitting and excavation permits. Yes.
Okay.
The follow-on discussion that T and I talked about is July, we gotta figure out business license.
Good. Okay.
So Brian, did I probably need to do that Wednesday or Thursday this week with it being holiday weekend?
Yep, that's a great point. I'll contact you after the meeting tonight and we can schedule a time to chat.
And a gentle reminder that we are, over the next 2 weeks, gonna do a down select on our future general plan update contract through Wasatch Front Regional Council. So all of the submittals have happened, the proposals have happened, and WFRC, who's managing the contract, will get with the selection team and we'll be meeting on the 14th or 15th of July to begin the process of finalizing it. So sometime, maybe as early as the 15th of July, probably a little later, we'll announce who this organization is, and we'll go from there. And we'll have $200,000 that we'll use for updating the general plan, the master transportation plan, TDR ordinance draft, village, whatever the village zone draft is, new agenda work.
Just a technical question, is that RFP, does that belong to the city
Nope,
or to?
WFRC.
Okay, good.
It's not ours. It's completely, they're the acquisition authority, not us.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we're a consumer of.
I know you're just getting this organized, you're, selecting who's gonna manage this, but down the road, I'm gonna ask you a question, I don't know if you can answer it. What is our involvement in those processes?
In the execution of it, once we get it going,
In
we're all gonna be part of.
Participation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's however we organize the whole planning function at the end of July, whatever we decide that. I mean, this is part and parcel to really our big picture, who we want to be in the future, to what Chad talks about. So we're all gonna be involved in that and we'll decide within whatever changes, if we do changes to how we manage planning, it'll be part of that. Which right now I'm managing the project to make sure it's up and running and we've got somebody doing it.
Right, great job so far, I was just down the road, I really want to participate, and I assume everybody else does want to participate in that.
Yeah, I am not holding those cards close. We're getting it going and this is the 5 of us representing the 7,200 people and what we want this place to look like 10 years from now. Okay, anything else on planning update? Brian, thank you. You get off easy today. I think we're all have land use fatigue.
May I say you look refreshed?
He does, doesn't he?
Look great.
He doesn't look harried and.
Yeah.
It was a good weekend. So, yep. I noticed you've got more discussion later on the agenda. I'll stay on the call and be available if you have questions, but yeah, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you everybody for all your hard work the last couple of months. It was really great to finish things off last week.
Yes.
Take that attention.
Okay, we're going to number 7, stormwater management plan update. Bottom line is we, the city, will adopt a stormwater management plan at our meeting on the 21st of July. We posted the draft stormwater management plan. JUB was the prime putting it together. If you need insomnia pills, it's 574 pages long. Hard copies sit in our office and it's just the nature of government documents. Those of us who've done government documents before. On Monday next week at our work session, Aaron MacLight, who works for JUB, will be doing an overview brief to us on what it says. And then on Tuesday next week, the first half hour of our meeting will be a public hearing. It's a notice public hearing on this where we'll invite the public to come talk to us. Importantly, I believe the Ogden Valley Watershed Action Group has been hand in hand in developing this. And we've got a great partnership with them. So know it's coming. You all have access to it. If you've got questions about it, get a hold of Nate Smith and he'll link you up with Aaron McLeod or call me up. But Aaron's the expert. Any questions on stormwater
Just
management?
because of those meetings next week, will you hold off summarizing anything until then?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
grab me afterwards if you want a 50,000 foot.
mine's the question that I think you can assume is coming from the one resident who's worried about the one area that isn't in the plan. So I've had contacts with within the last 24 hours.
All right, let's you and I talk afterwards. Okay. Number 8, fraud survey commitments. Okay, we all committed to doing 2 things recently, and I'm gonna remind of a third. All of us committed to printing out, signing, and getting notarized the annual ethics pledge. Who's ready to turn theirs in?
Done.
Done.
Not done.
That needs to be done today.
I thought it was Wednesday.
Today is what I read in the email.
By the end of June. But these were due, yeah, these were
Today
due
was
today.
saying that I didn't do the one with the January was due.
Okay. I was not gonna use your name, Chad. You're the only one who hasn't done the conflict of interest one. I was gonna remind us all that we need to do the conflict of interest one. You're stuck in the corner, go to the corner.
Then we can say Chad is outstanding.
You're outstanding. So
Yeah.
Chad owes the conflict of interest form. We all owe this. I suggest printing it out, going over it, signing it, printing it out, going to the library and getting it done today and give
Right.
it.
Well, make sure you have your.
Gotta have your ID. Right, and then everyone else, we're all supposed to
I.
get it notarized.
You don't write.
Library.
Okay.
So,
May I sent mine today to Sherry via picture, because I didn't know how to scan, so.
This one.
That was what Sharon.
this one,
I sent her the certificate right off the email, or the thing,
So Sherry needs it for the big points, just to make sure that we all
Sharon, we're just talking.
yeah.
Sherry Rockman,
This is initiated by the Office of
Okay.
State Auditor.
hang on, let's go back to the homework assignment. Everybody has that link to do training. Who has not done said training? Chad, get your training. There's a link that Janet put in an email on the 22nd of June. And it takes, as Tia discovered, if you put it on 1.5 time, you can do.
Yeah, that was a big, the man was too fast.
He was. I don't, well, not that we would do that, citizens, but at 1.5 time, you can understand what they're saying. This, so this needs to get done.
And there are tests at the end of
Yeah.
Chad.
That needs to get done and sent to Sherry. Second was print out and sign and notarize the annual ethics pledge to Sherry and to Sharon. Sharon, if I give you this, can you scan it or do you need me to go over there and scan it?
I need it for our public record.
Right.
And Sherry needs it for our points for our audit.
I just took a picture and sent it.
There we go.
And that was smart.
And
What's it called, the email for the class?
this one was an email from Janet on the 22nd of June. And type in training. If you search training, you'll get it.
It was also in an email I sent.
So this one was, the link is on an email from Janet.
And the link was also in my.
Okay.
Read the whole email she sent, don't Chad, because it tells you which class to
Yeah.
take. And you gotta do all the modules. There's like a 5,
Okay.
yeah. 5.
And then Chad, you're in the bad boy corner with the conflict of interest one. That one needs to get done too. So,
And that's important for us to be honest with the auditor about how we are updated on all of this stuff. It's an important
It is.
point.
it's gotta be done absolutely has to be done by the end of the month, which is tomorrow.
Today.
Which means
But
Sherry,
the suspense was today. Just get her done today.
Sherry has to upload it, so get her materials today.
I keep thinking it's the 30th today.
Today's the 29th. Okay, any questions on that? Everybody who, yeah,
Someone has a consenting, because I can.
I'm
I apologize, last week when we had this, I had a heck of a last week with
Yeah.
going down, so I didn't do anything. 2 months ago.
I'm looking for it, so I can send it to you.
22nd of June, if I recall, is when Janet sent the email with the links for all this. And then Kay resent the link to this document
To all of them, to the training.
to, okay, so there's also one from you. Okay, anything else on that subject?
You can find it.
One of our colleagues, if they're searching it, we'll send it to you. Okay, thanks, TNK. All right, number 9, ordinance 2026-50.
Okay,
That's probably not.
Okay. So ordinance 2026-50 is a new one or an update to what we voted on and approved last Tuesday.
it actually updates it,
It
and it
updates.
actually becomes a part of our
Municipal.
unique code, yeah.
So recall last Tuesday, and I wasn't there and I didn't vote on it, but the 4 of you voted on a fireworks ban. And this one expands the fireworks ban to adopt all similar type fire restrictions that the state fire marshal, the county fire marshal, those smart people on it adopt. So what we're saying, and it's my words, not the actual legal words, what we're saying is, if a fire person says you can't do it, by ordinance, you can't do it.
Which means we're in stage 2 right now, if we sign this.
If we vote to approve it. Kathy has her hand up. Hang on a second, then I'll come back to you.
If we do approve the stage 2, I just need a amendment for the website, so we can those up to take. Or whatever, however we want to.
Okay. Okay,
I left a folder in my car that had some notes in it, so I don't know what a good time to run out there is. It's for the next item on this agenda.
we can hold after we get this one done and you can run out.
Perfect.
Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns about this updated resolution on fire protection?
No. I read it a little bit and I was like, wait a minute, are they restricting the barbecues on July 4th? But then I read it better and it's not.
Right, it doesn't restrict, well, the only way it would is if the fire marshal said you can't even have a barbecue.
But isn't that in stage 2?
That's in stage 2. I was reading stage 2, yeah.
Well, we are, as of the 26th, if we sign this, right, stage 2.
But I'm not sure. We have to go back and make sure what the state is declaring.
You got an email today that said.
Okay, so the day it is declared stage 2? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, update.
Right, they did, but help me with
But
this.
Peggy, when I read it did, in stage 2, it did allow the gas fire grills and.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
not charcoal and,
Yeah.
in unless it's permitted in that campground area.
Yeah. Well, would anybody like to move that we approve this?
I will move because I think it's the longest ordinance name we have ever passed, so I'm ready to read it. I move that we adopt ordinance 2026-50. An ordinance of the Ogden Valley City Council amending Title V of the Ogden Valley City Municipal Code by enacting chapter 5.06, general fire and firework restrictions. And actually, I don't believe it's necessary to read the rest of the title. I will just say at all.
I think that works for us. Anybody want to second that?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Tia. We have a motion by Councilwoman Hoagland, second by Councilwoman Shaw is an ordinance, so I'm going to do roll call. Councilwoman Dooling Baker,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hoagland,
Aye.
Councilwoman Shaw,
Aye.
Councilman Booth.
Alright.
And as the mayor pro tem, I get to vote, whereas the mayor does not, so I am an aye. We have a 5-0 vote to approve the ordinance, so it is ordained. Number 10, resolution on approving a gateway service agreement. Peggy, you want to step out real quick? We're taking a 1.5 minute break for Peggy to step out and get something from her car.
Oh.
We got 2 teachers in here, they're gonna beat on you.
And that too, because there's one thing I was really bad at in school. Yeah, you have to sign in. This page is course curriculum, but I don't see any need to Starting.
I don't remember.
Go back to this, start the training for municipal officials, right? That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, for free, just.
You sure?
Yeah, that's what, you know.
I have that. I mean, that'd be something. Good for you.
Nice fire restriction page today.
Thank you.
Very nice. We just got the stage 2 flyer. Wow, do you want that too?
Up to you guys, how do you want this?
Yes.
I do as you did.
Okay.
Well, it looks very nice, thank you.
Okey-dokey.
Okay. So item number 10 on the agenda, resolution 2026-XX, a resolution of the City Council of Ogden Valley City approving a gateway service master agreement with Express Solutions. I believe Councilwoman Hoagland is the point of contact for this, correct?
Correct,
Please.
actually. We are working at the behest of Sherry, our finance director, who has said this is essential for us to process payments on sale and fleet payments. So based on that and based on her review of the available vendors, this is the least cost and most effective annex to Casella for that purpose. So other than that, it's fairly straightforward. And as is the case with most of these small IT matters, they really write long agreements. But it's in order and I recommend we approve it.
I'll go around the table, see if anybody has any questions of Kay. I don't personally, Chad.
I don't think you can.
Tia?
This is about, just being able to electronically pay for fees, right? And so this is a service that we'll be able to post on our website, or where would people access this?
I don't know the exact mechanism that Sherry will set up for that to process payments, but I would imagine that it will need to be a portal on our website as well.
So it'll be easily accessible.
Any questions?
Can you skip me and come back? I'm just getting it up.
You're the last one.
Oh, I'm the last one, okay. I did have a couple of questions, and I'm glad you mentioned that Sherry researched this, because I didn't know how we selected this particular payment system. So she is familiar with the system?
Extremely.
Okay, good. Now, are we talking about the resolution that you had, or are we talking about the agreement that you sent?
The resolution adopts the agreement.
Okay, so I have a question on the resolution, and I'm
Okay.
trying to pull it up here.
Take your time.
Thank you. And it is on our SharePoint, I'm sure.
It is.
If you want to look here.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
Let me see if I can find the highlighted ones here. Oh, wait. All right. So I just had a question about, now. Let's see. Section 2, under the now therefore it will be resolved. I guess we just name sections. It says the mayor is hereby authorized to execute the agreement, the order form, and any other documents reasonably necessary to effectuate the agreement. So I just am wondering, who would do this if not the mayor?
The mayor pro tem.
So the mayor pro tem. So who would do this if we didn't have that section 2 clause in there?
We would then have to appoint a secondary mayor pro tem to do it, but typically in municipalities, the mayor has the authority to sign all contracts.
We've heard that, we've said that a number of times, and I believe that she signs the
Sure.
contract and do all that. Where is that? I mean, is this an essential piece? And yeah, I think it'll become clear why I'm asking this in the next discussion. But I just want to make sure that if we're giving the mayor authorities, that they don't have typically. Is that a yes or no?
This is in the financial procedures we adopted that are modeled after the template provided by the state auditor for contracting and finance and procurement, which we adopted in February. Secondly, as a matter of state code, under the 6-member form of government, the mayor is the CEO of the organization, to whom all employees report. So there is residing in the mayor by law administrative authorities of this nature. You have another proposal,
Yes,
even for this contract?
no, I think the contract and the payment system, as long as it was vetted and we know, the background there. The thing I'm thinking about and asking about is not the process there, it's the internal process that we have. Because as I understood from reading this, that the mayor does not have financial responsibilities, but we would be giving the mayor the other authority here and giving authority in different places. And I just want to make sure we're very clear about what we're doing.
Is there, do you have a question to this resolution, or can we go ahead and pass it in and get to the questions of powers, duties, and responsibilities in your next agenda item? If you object to this contract, I guess we have to talk about it, but
I'm asking about it in light of this contract. Would it be the financial portfolio that would forward this and the mayor signs a contract, or are they authorized to do all the documents and the agreement
First of all,
orders?
go ahead.
What I can tell you is that every ILA and every contract that we have on file to date has the mayor's signature on it.
Right.
I
Not
think
to
the
say
question,
that's our
I
process.
think the question being asked, and I agree with the question being asked, if it's the question that I think is being asked is this something we have just chosen as our group to give that power to? And I understand Kay's answer to that is that she's basing it off the definition of the form of mayor, basing it off of that, but is that the typical way of doing it? Or is there another way? Did we just choose to do that because we just did it? And I love the question. I think it's a very good question that needs to be answered so that we know going forward why we made that. Why didn't we give Tia that authority as city council over business licenses? And we felt like she would be the best person for that. Why did we give it to the mayors? I think that's what maybe Peggy's asking.
And it's an internal question of, are we gonna operate like this? Are we gonna do this? Is this a authority we're giving to the mayor? Or is this one inherent that we've created? That's my bigger question is to go forward.
It's an inherent power, but under the 6-member council form, according to the legal memos and the writings in the book there, we can give additional powers over the statute, or we can take them away. But this is how we've been operating for 6 months.
Right, and so I just wanna make sure I know we were hair on fire, getting things done, doing things for 6 months. Now I think we need to take a breath and see, are we doing things the way we wanna do them?
I think
And
that's the subject, I think that's gonna be the subject of our retreat. I think it's very topical and I think we all welcome it.
I'm with you. The
Yeah.
one point I wanna make sure, and it's, like I said, I would like to clarify that the authority to approve funds under the 6-member council is the duty of the municipality, the council, to appropriate funds. And I want to make sure that when we do these things, we are doing it consciously, saying, are we giving authority to the mayor or are we not? That's all I'm asking.
That's a very helpful passage, because if we vote on this, we are exercising the power to appropriate funds. What the paragraph that you point to just says is the mayor is the signatory on behalf of the city. She cannot independently run out and sign contracts without our passing. Does that get to your question, Chad?
It does, but it doesn't in a way.
Okay,
I'm
well,
sorry.
this is not.
Well, because I'm questioning that path. And I'm not questioning it, Kay, as far as questioning what you're doing with it. It's just that, is this just the chosen path that you decided to send the city down because of your legal background of it and feel like this is the best way? And so I'm gonna throw it back and saying, why didn't you chose the mayor? Okay, why didn't you choose one of the council people for that?
Or the finance team.
Exactly,
Yes.
first of all, as head of finance practice, I didn't choose the mayor. You know, having the mayor as signatory is how we have operated with every single contract. And I think that's
Well,
what's with, let me finish,
You
Chad.
said that twice.
Well, many of us say many things repeatedly.
No, I know.
One at a
Point
time,
is, thank you.
you then you.
The point is, so we have been doing that with legal advice. With approvals, with consistent votes on every contract. If you want to change that, that is why we are meeting in July.
Yeah,
And also, if you have a reason for wanting to change it based on statute or other law or another proposal, as I like to say, bring the proposal to the table. But we are talking now about voting on a little ancillary device that our finance director needs to make payments. And now only, we would like to vote on it before you comment. If you, and you know, standard operating procedure that we have had for 6 months, and this is the first time anyone saying, well, should the mayor sign a contract? I don't know why this contract brings that up.
it's a broader question.
Okay,
This
thank
is just a trigger for why a question was probably needed to be asked 4 months ago because.
Great,
Right.
yeah, rather than this being a trigger for a broader discussion, I would like to move to adopt this resolution at this point.
I would like to have some more discussion before we do that in the last, if I may.
I'll entertain, thank you, yeah.
Well, I was actually
Oh, sorry, you were talking.
on that, wasn't I? Based on.
You were,
And, cause I was just kind of filling in there, but my question of you saying, okay, this is how we've always done it. I'm questioning that saying, yes, I recognize that's how we've always done it for 6 months with a group of a group that is unbelievably inexperienced. So was that the best approach? And we just keep going back and saying, this is how we've done it. I'm not questioning. I guess I'm questioning the greenness of us, the inexperienced of us, and like, why was it done that way originally?
I will
Yeah,
but
answer
you're
that
not,
in terms of agreements.
and then
It's not
you get the
us,
floor and then I get the floor.
it is not us. It is not us. These are finance rules recommended by Sherry, adopted by the council, and with the action, the active involvement of our city attorney. This is not my grand idea that someone out of the blue who happens to be the mayor should sign the contract. And what I suggest, if this is troubling to you, you have the responsibility to go research and make a proposal for how it should otherwise operate. Because I find it so curious. This is raised in the context of a simple finance addenda to our financial practice recommended by our finance director. Why now?
We already got that. It's a broader.
Peggy's got the floor than me.
Here was the question at the heart of it for me. Is this an example of giving the mayor authority she did not have? I just want to be clear. I just want to have us, as we vote, understand that thing. So that's my question, and I'm gonna question it every time going forward. So I'd like an answer. Is this an example of us giving authority to the mayor that was not there before?
I've got the floor. I'm looking at an early draft of our procurement policy. Do you have the final draft resolution we passed? Would you pull it up, please?
Yeah.
In the early draft, in our procurement policy said that contracts will be signed by the mayor. So if that's the case, we need to look at the final that we approved. Then it's consistent with what we all voted on. I've got the early draft. I can't find the final, but I've asked Bea to pull it up. We wrote into our procurement policy that we'll all work and that contracts will be signed by the mayor. So let's find that. That answers the question on the basis of this, the authority. And of course, we can always go back and change these. If we think we should do it differently, we should go back and change these. So Dave, if you can find the final it was back in late January or February when we passed the procurement policy.
Would it be on SharePoint?
It will be somewhere. Time hack. We've got 45 minutes left. Doing okay. We don't have a land use code to throw around today.
Okay, so.
How are we doing?
If we did get that authority to the mayor for our procurement. In that, then for the contract signing. That goes forward. I have no
In
problem.
my memory that we did, but like I said, I can't find the final. I know it was.
I'm good.
It's how it was drafted. It
I
was
have to find them, I have to find them, I just need to.
No, I.
You guys want to find it?
I think from,
Remember which number it is.
I think from that draft and knowing that we have kind of carried on that way, I just want to make sure everything is clear and we're doing things the way we're supposed to be done. So, knowing that, and I'll.
Go ahead.
But I think for the contract, because we have, as a group, if we understand the expenditures. And I do understand the urgency, we get free training and setup if it's done by the end of June. So, which is wonderful, and I appreciate Sherry for doing this and in a timely manner. I don't mean to take away from this pieces. I'm going to always ask them because I think it's important to us to be clear.
I will just ask, just as the reporter is looking for this.
I'm,
We've been
I will
working.
find it and send it, send the final.
Yeah, I'm good with the draft.
But the point is that I'd like to make. This is a little bit odd and late to raise this question. This has been how we've been operating for 6 months. Under council's review, under ordinances and contracts prepared by 2 outside attorneys. And under our finance director. Why now? Is this just not, we were not aware of it before?
And I will go into more details and explain my agenda.
So this is about the next agenda, item,
It's-
not about this.
It relates because it's about the authority we're giving to the mayor, and I want to be sure and clear that
Absolutely.
when we do things, so
One at a time. Peggy, are you done?
I think I've said it.
Tia, did you have a comment?
Well, if we all, and what you read as a draft, but I seem to remember us doing this and, my memory could be skewed. But if we all adopted that and agreed to that, then that's what we need to, if we want to change it, then we need to come back and talk about it and change it.
But that was my question.
Chad's got his hand up and then I'm gonna call for a motion of some sort on.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make a comment to Kate's questioning of Peggy and maybe to me on that too. Why now? Why now, Kate? And like I said, it's more of the broader question of the processes that we've taken prior to that we've kind of just, again, I keep going back to the inexperience, the unknown of putting the trust in the council of saying, well, I hope this is correct. But now that as we become a little bit more experienced with it, there are questions that are gonna come up, and I will tell you right now, I will, like what Peggy said, I will question them stronger now because of some of the things that I've learned going forward, so. And knowing, and I'm not directing this to you, I'll look this way, knowing that the 5 of us are all very different, and we may have different agendas, that if we're not sharp with questioning, an agenda could get pushed through that maybe we don't fully agree with. And I'm not questioning you on this, I'm just saying, as a group, that's my whole point of my first statement of the day today, is I so hope we get to a point that the 5 of us can say, okay, I understand Tia. I get where she's coming from, I get where Dawn and so forth. And so I don't have to sit here 6 months into it and have Peggy bring up a topic and it hits my button too of saying, yeah, I agree with where Peggy's at with that. I want to make sure and things that as I'm learning, some of the things that I'm learning from this is be careful in how you give power to the mayor. Because once you give power to the mayor, and this is repeated, it's very hard to take that away. It's easier to give than take away on that, because then you have to have just exactly what we're talking right now. We're saying, let's just move forward with it. Not that it's wrong. I just want to make sure that it's understood that I will question it going forward until I get a better feel that where everyone's at with things.
So the question on the table is a resolution 2026-XX. Do I hear a motion related to it?
I move that we adopt resolution 2026-XX. A resolution of the city council of Ogden Valley, city approving a gateway services master agreement with Express Solutions, Inc., DBA Express Bill Pay, and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
Councilwoman Shaw has moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Hoagland has seconded. It is a resolution. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The resolution passes 5-0. Okay, we've got two more real agenda items. Discussion of planning commission rules, brought up by Councilwoman Julian Baker Peggy, and then council comments, and then if we need a closed meeting, then an adjournment. So, number 11, over to you.
Thank you. I have learned that I should be much more detailed in my descriptions when I put this on the agenda. So it says planning commission rules, but it references an item I put on the agenda actually a while ago. And it is the planning commission rules, the city planner, how we assign the city planner, the council members, the mayor, and it is the resolution 2041. It was the second one that we looked at and we passed. So here's one of my concerns. I have talked to the mayor about this in person and in writing. And I said, I'd like to have this discussion and we put it on the agenda. So that's fine. The email that we got prior to this resolution was from Corbin, who sent it out on May 18th. And it says all this proposed ordinance making edits to the code, because we have a muni plan for the planning commission, to appoint a planning administrator and clarifying this role. I will discuss the need for this in our work session. So that's all the preview we had, and then we had the new code. It's quite lengthy and goes into quite a bit. And of course, it was during the mad rush when we were looking at everything. So we did review it twice in work sessions. Although I have to say, I understood it as clarifying Ryan's role and looking at the new planning commission role as they transitioned from land use to being a traditional planning commission. So it was a big transition, and I read it that way. But in this code, I didn't realize how it changed our role and the mayor's role. Not once did I recall hearing in those two discussions that it was changing our role and the mayor's role. But yet that was the aftercase afterwards. This is a big change, and I did not understand that when we voted for this. So I would like to have a discussion. I thought this was a work session, so I didn't have an item. I'm just glad you're okay. No, to bring up to vote on. But I do want to ask, since this is such a big change, I wanted to ask if everyone else understood that when it said mayor or mayor's designee, it meant mayor and the mayor can, if they choose, to appoint a new designee. I read it as mayor, mayor's designee, is Chad was already the designee for the planning commission because we had decided that and we gave Chad the lead, me the second for the plan. So I assumed things would roll along as usual. I didn't question that. And I should have, because what I understand now is the mayor is in charge of the agendas and the agenda prep with the planning commission. And also possibly, it's not clear yet, because we haven't had a phone conversation with Corbin to decide on the budget, although it says so in here when you read closer. So my concern is, did everybody understand when we voted on this, that that was the case, that our role would change? And I believe this is an example of us giving the mayor more authority than the mayor had previous to this ordinance. So I'd like to open it up. Did you understand that? Am I, what should I be counting? 2026-41. This is the big one.
Where would that be found?
And my comment to it is, I'm in agreement with what Peggy said, and that it was one that, in retrospect now, I recognize as these resolutions came through, that I recognize with me that I needed a more thorough explanation from, if it was Corbin explaining the resolution, to explain what was being taken for, and also what was being given. And I don't believe, well, I know he didn't explain it that way, and Peggy's is correct in saying she doesn't recall that being stated. And I think it would have changed the entire voting of the resolution had it been explained, saying going forward, based off of where you guys have been doing, going about your business now, this is how it's going to be. And I think for us, I don't see any reason why that wouldn't have been explained that way. I don't understand it. So again, it kind of makes me set back, and maybe it was just because Corbin understanding is that we should know that, but we shouldn't at this point because we're so new at this. I think there should, and I've expressed to him my concern with that of saying you need to be better at explaining that to us as far as what we know going when we're changing something like that. So I'm in agreement with Peggy's summary of that.
So Peggy, you thought, when it said mayor or her designee or his one, that meant Janet and the designee convention. Okay.
And I thought, Kay, like you mentioned, we would change our organizational structure in July. You know, I anticipate that change. I know we're gonna have an open discussion about how we're gonna manage these departments. And I know that change was coming. Nobody told me this was the part of the change. And I felt blindsided by that. So that's why I want to discuss it, because I agree. I think it should have been explained as, this is what we're doing. We're moving authority to the mayor to oversee the agenda and now the budget, possibly the budget. You know, and I've had this conversation with Janet multiple times. I said, you know, point out where in here, and went back and forth. So she's very aware. I don't feel like I'm talking out of school about this. And it's my conversations with her. So I just want us as a council to be aware of what that means. And that's why I have to ask Kay on all these, because I don't know what it means and I want to learn. So until I get better, I am going to ask. And so in this, I did not see that shift until after it happened.
Chad, go ahead.
You.
Well, I'm just rereading this. And you're so there, where it says, whereas your city council finds that planning commission agendas should be administered and coordinated by the city planning administrator in coordination with the planning commission chair, the city recorder, and the mayor or mayor designee. So the only thing you're questioning is the mayor or mayor designee.
Well, I thought the mayor designee was Chad, and that.
Designate or the, how's the word there?
Or the mayor's designee.
Or mayor's designee, so you're questioning the mayor being in there,
Yes.
so if it said mayor's designee, you wouldn't question that?
No, I think I would now. I learned that's not the right term. It should have been the council's designee, not the mayor's, because we decided Chad would be over planning. And I just naively thought, and I apologize, I thought it would be business as usual. And
So do we know who the mayor's designee would be?
it's the mayor right now. She has not designated, as I know.
That's correct.
So as far as I understand, it's the mayor. So that's why I'm just saying,
Or
because we
or the mayor's designee, it's the mayor or the
Right.
mayor's designee.
right. So it's a shift though, because the planning commission has to maintain their independence. We had moved to just have Chad or me support them and help them post agendas. So it was a support.
This is what I'm asking, so you're objecting to the mayor being involved in this at all?
I am asking, is this a shift of giving her the authority to be involved? I haven't even, I don't wanna make a judgment call on good or bad. I'm saying, is this a shift in us giving the mayor power over the planning commission agenda and budget?
Can I say something? You
Absolutely.
mentioned the planning commission's independence. That's not how I read the code, the state code. And maybe we all need to take a look at that, especially with this retreat coming up. The planning commission is advisory. And serves at the pleasure of the council. I think it is, the mayor has the power to appoint commissioners with the advice and consent of the council. And so I don't think they're independent. They're advisory. I think you got the term independent from discussions over whether we, as council members, should be really actively involved in their meeting as they were looking at their legislative work of proposing code. And that's where the advice we got was best for council and mayor to stay up substantively and let them do their work with the planner. But they are not an independent body. They're a separate statutory body recognized by statute, but they're advisory.
Right,
Yeah,
and something that corporate wants to do.
no, and so I personally would be very concerned if they had sole control.
No,
Yeah.
it comes from the planning administrator who we named as Brian. Getting the permits that come through, them setting the agenda together with, Chad in consultation, so he's knowing the budget, he's understanding the direction where we're going and reports back to all of us. So that's how I understood it would continue. So that has drastically changed. And what I'm asking, was this the giving that we keep talking about? Don, you've mentioned it a couple times in meetings. The mayor only gets authority when we give it to him.
That's not right, he's not a lawyer.
Well, I'm saying
She has, the mayor has statutes.
Oh, she does, and we would never take those away, nor would I want to take those
Yeah.
away. I'm not saying that, okay?
I know
I
that.
think you're going deeper than what I'm trying to ask here.
I've raised my hand, it's my turn. Yes, it was. The five of us, by law, because it's an ordinance, assigned the mayor this role. So it was, we said, this is now your job. So it is an example of the five of us saying, this is now the mayor's job, or designee, but we in our laws of the land, in our ordinance said, the mayor or designee. So it is an example. To answer your question, it is.
And did you know that going in?
Yeah, I absolutely, I read the
I did
thing,
not.
see,
Chad did
well,
not. don't know if you did.
I based mine.
Like it is, Peggy, and so but
Yeah.
the mayor would be involved in.
Yeah.
So you saw her as us giving her authority that she didn't
That
have.
she would be part of the group here that is named in, the agendas.
And also, I mean, I view that as the way I have watched planning commissions work with municipalities, cities. That's why I didn't raise an eyebrow, because I thought that's normal business, normal order.
Well, and I will question every time, because I need to have a straight answer, because I felt like it was slid through and we should have known for sure what this meant. This was a change in our road that we did not understand and had had no conversation about, and I said that too. So I feel it was almost because it was not explained that way by Corbin or by you or by anybody else who understood it or said that out loud, I feel misled. So I guess I'll leave it at that.
And I will emphasize that once it was explained to me, I felt the same way, and not only did the two of us, it sounds like, but there were other people within the planning commission, once they realized the resolution was passed, questioned it also immediately. And so it's not just a it's something that was an issue that was brought to me numerous times by at least 3 different members of the planning commission, what happened here. And so I think, again, it goes to a broader, it kind of goes back to agenda item number 10 also, is that. And I think it's a perfect meeting today to have this, because it's the 5 of us. That I think it's incredibly important that we recognize the balance of powers, that it's very important that we keep a balance of powers within the 5 + 1, 6 of us, and that we don't heavy laden it one way to allow for things. And on my side, I just want to be clear, I want less power. I just want to make sure that we have a balance of power, that we're working together as a group, and that we don't have a certain shift of power that allows things to happen that we don't want to have happen. That's my biggest fear with this. And a few of these moves that have happened, even though they're minor, are a shift that could continue to happen if we're not staying aware of it. And that's my biggest thing. And with what Peggy said, I will dig in my heels going forward, and I should have prior to this. I was naive, and my naivety's gone now. So I'm going to be much more aware of those things happening, and I will question the heck out of them going forward until I feel confident with those things. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
I guess I just read things at face value, and it made sense to me.
Well, I think Tia with face value, and I agree with you. I did the same thing, but I think naivety can bite us if we're not questioning the potential of what could happen because of those things.
Well, and I guess I don't.
And it's already happened once.
I don't question the mayor being on this team. So,
But what it did was took us off the team for parts of it, so we're not included in parts of the team now.
I never was included, Peggy, in the plan.
Not at least it,
Yeah.
because the sticky tab rolls we gave in December.
It would be
Right,
an example
because-
for you, Greg, it would be, we passed this resolution and the power for you to pass business licenses went to the mayor and not to you anymore. If that's what your responsibility is, I don't know exactly what your responsibility is,
It's all of
without
us
you
that-
kind of doing.
It's all of us that pass the business licenses. It's not me, it's all of us.
But this goes,
Okay, well, then
This did change the administrative roles. It added somebody else to your administrative roles. It changed your administrative role, is what it did.
but it also shifted the power dynamic now, because whoever controls the purse controls the budget. Or
Well,
controls the
Well, we
budget.
control the purse. The 5 of us control the purse.
Yeah, guys, you keep jumping in.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Just to help me, Peggy.
No, you're helping. This was a shift in the power dynamic. We've got to be honest about that if we're gonna move forward together. This shifted it because now the agenda prep goes with Janet. And Janet is, gonna be supporting the council and deciding what goes on or does not go on. So that takes that from Chad, and actually now goes to the planning administrator and Chad and Lisa. And Sharon was never involved in those. I don't know if she's gonna start with that now or not. But what I'm saying is that happened. And so that's one piece of it. The second piece of it is we weren't informed that was happening. I did not know it, and I felt like I was hoping my teammates would tell me that, and it didn't happen. So that's what I want to get out there. And so from now on, I'm going to question everything. So you'll know why, because I'm not being told what's happening. So, or no, that's wrong. That's not right. Let me take that back. I apologize. I need to read it with a different eye, because I felt like we're continuing until we have the organizational structure. Now I know that's not the case. So it's going to be different going forward for me, because I feel like I need to read this with a critical eye.
And I'll go back to my question of agenda item number 10 and link it into agenda item 11 is why? Why wasn't it? And I'll ask Tia that, because she seems okay with it. It seems like you understood with it, but do you know why it was done? And Dawn, I'll ask you that too.
Because I seem to remember that we agreed that the mayor would sign these things.
Okay, go to, so why though?
Are we on 10 or 11?
Which one are we on?
Well, let's go to 11, since that's the more of the responsibility part of that, that's taken away.
Yeah,
Right.
so I don't see personally, I don't see a problem with the mayor being involved in this agenda team with the, you
So
know.
let me ask,
city
okay, that's
planner.
great. You see a problem with the mayor continually getting more and more power?
Well, I don't think we should continually give the mayor more power, but
Do you see that happening now? Okay, that's good.
And I think it's good, you're getting to some honesty here, because I was disturbed last week. When you were upset about this and said you thought there were some nefarious things happening. And included Corbin, our council,
I never.
in that statement.
No, I said he didn't explain it well. I never put him in as
The
being
word
nefarious.
nefarious.
I never used that word because I don't even know what that word means. I know what it means, but I wouldn't use it in a sentence. So don't say that I said that word, okay? Be careful with how you say anything.
I will, and I'm just cautioning you to be careful with being, I mean, to me, when I was listening to that, I heard that it was nefarious. There were people, you use the term agenda repeatedly. Someone has an agenda, people are pushing an agenda.
I believe the way that the budget was originally presented to us, if there wasn't an agenda, it was incredibly misguided and
Yeah.
poorly presented to us.
And
So
it-
then based off of what I thought I had confidence in the finance team of doing that, I would have expected more. So take that however you
That's
want,
okay,
Kate. So
let's say we've heard this a number of times, but I just want you to say. If you believe people have an agenda, say what it is. You know,
I don't know what the
what-
agenda is. I mean,
but well, then why are you saying an agenda? People have an agenda. You know? I think we're all here to run.
I disagree with that. If you have your priorities if we were all the same,
Okay, so an agenda,
we would be like kumbaya, like whatever it is, whether it be pro this, pro that, we'd be rocking and rolling, but all five of us have different agendas.
Okay,
To say
so-
that we don't have that is ridiculous. May we be more aligned, some of us than others? Absolutely. But to say you look at the Ogden Valley the exact same way I do, Kate, do you think that's correct?
so I just wanna make clear that when you say people have an agenda, that's not a negative.
Sorry?
When you say people have an agenda, that's not a negative thing, 'cause I took that as a negative thing. In past conversations, I've done that as well.
Well, I think it depends on the topic.
Mhm.
So on that budgetary thing, again, I'll go back to either one, there was an agenda that for whatever reason, we had to make a decision right there, which was, or it was crazily unprofessional in the manner in which it was presented to us. And I don't put Sherry one bit in that. I don't think Sherry had anything to do with it, just so you let me know, does that feel really bad for her
You
to
made
her
it
feel?
right, you know,
Okay, Kate, did you just hear what I said?
Yeah.
Okay, so don't go, it had nothing to do with Sherry on that, okay? It was on, you want me to tell you who it was on?
Okay, let Chad talk.
It was whoever planned that presentation. I don't know who did it. Was it you and the mayor?
I don't do spreadsheets.
Okay, so however that was presented to have, us may have to make a decision on that, it was poorly done. So whoever didn't review it ahead and say, ooh, wait, you know,
Mhm.
we need to look at this better, because this is not the way to present this to the five of us.
Let me look.
No, Chad gets to talk and then I do.
So that's my point to that. So if you wanna call that did I jump to a conclusion saying there was because it was so poorly done? Sure. Like, if you wanna call it, I was like, why are we making a decision to throw the mayor in as the boss over, the city manager basically, without us having an education of what that meant? And that's what was presented to us that day. That is how it was presented to us on just face value. So if I would be not doing my job as a city councilman to not go crazy at that moment and say, what in the world is going on? Why is this presented this way to me? Especially the first time we've seen the budget.
Don, may I have a few moments before you
Yeah,
and
15 seconds and then it's my.
if you read how municipalities are governed. And I read something this morning on it. It's very common for, if there's not a city manager, the mayor performs the duties.
Okay.
No, I do not understand, but let me just say. That's a point of fact, and I hate to see you get so upset over something that was on a spreadsheet. I'll defer my time to Don.
Thank you, Peggy, and thank you, Chad, for bringing up your perception of what happened on the 19th or whatever the vote. Thank you. I read the thing multiple times. It made sense to me, and I voted yes for it. And period. We've got really interesting things that we're going to talk about over the next month. We're all going to talk to Christine, and then we'll get together. I in the back of my mind is. We have not found a single attorney or a single mentor who's done what we've done. And what I mean by that is our attorney, Corbin, works for Midway, which is a 6-member, but they're very different than this. Years ago, they gave to their mayor all these powers. And so much of what we get from Corbin is based on his experience there, not on you're like nobody else. How should you organize? And you guys have heard me say this multiple times since November. Here's what the law says. It's ours until we give it to her being the current mayor, except certain things. I'm not going to argue with the lawyer about what the statute says, but most of the power sits on us until we give it to her. So this is the question for us over the next month. How do we want to organize this thing? Are we going to hire people? Yes or no? If yes, who do those people work for? Right? Do they work for the mayor? Do they work for us? Do we want to pay us? All those things are what we're going to be talking about over the next month. And I'm with you, Chad. But once you give something, it's really hard to take away. So we, the 5, need to decide what we want this thing to look like at the end of July. And go in eyes wide open. Read all the documents. You know, Corbin's Corbin. That's the mean. I didn't mean it pejoratively, but his experience base is not us. There's nobody we found who can say to a city like us, because there's nobody else like us. Not a single attorney we found who's willing to work for us.
That's the key.
Who's willing to work for us. Here's how a brand new 6-member council works. The advice we've got is from attorneys. What they're doing for established one. I'm giving it to Tia, then you've raised your hand.
Well, I'm just, I've heard a couple of times now, once we give it, it's hard to take away. Could you explain to me why, if the 5 of us can vote to change that, why it's hard to take away?
Yes, I'll give you my opinion.
It's a naive question, but if the 5 of us vote to change that, how is that hard to take that away?
Yeah, so I'll give my perspective. So one is it's really easy to give people stuff it's hard to take away as human beings. But 2, the mayor gets to vote on every one of these. Anything that involves her job or role, it becomes a 6 vote versus a 5 vote.
And
Which changes the dynamics.
to take powers away, and again, Don tends to diminish the inherent powers of the office. There are inherent powers there by statute, some of which can be taken away. But to take away powers, I believe, the mayor gets to vote for powers that are added or taken away. But also I believe it has to be a majority, if not unanimous, for the council to vote to give or take.
So
The mayor participates.
we cannot take away any of her statutory power. But anything we give, we can take 6 can take back.
And I
Peggy
hope
has the floor.
I hope my point is not lost here. It's not about the mayor. It's about being knowledgeable about what we give. And I wanted someone to say out loud, this is a giving of authority. I wanted our attorney to say that. I had hoped one of my colleagues would say that. If we're gonna work together and be thoughtful and do this the right way, we all need to know what's going on. So it's not a matter of, I don't want to take things away. I want to be thoughtful about what we give. And if it's our responsibility, then we better take that seriously and keep it until we see a great need to give it to the mayor. So I hope that's my point today. It was about, I believe, omission of not having a clear picture of what I voted on. And I was gonna ask for a revote, but obviously we don't have three, so that's not a thing I can do. So that was my whole point of putting it on the agenda.
Can I
Not yet. Without a resolution, we couldn't vote on anything anyway, so we'd have to create a resolution.
But I was gonna
Yeah.
ask if we could recreate a resolution and then move it forward, but we can't because I don't have three people.
I do think this points out the need to dig deep, read the resources, review the memos that have been sent, the PowerPoints that have been sent. And the reason this is not clear from one simple skin is that it's contradictory. The statute is contradictory. After more than 6 months, well, a year of researching it, it leaves city councils and mayors to the point where they decide how they want to run their city. So dig deep and read. You know, we went from people saying weak mayor, weak mayor. That's a term that was adopted only because in a 5-mayor form, it's the same, but the mayor gets to vote. In a 6-member council, the mayor doesn't get to vote. So do your homework and be prepared, because talking from a good baseline of information about what that statute provides will help you in our discussions over the next month.
Should I know that?
I would like you to give us a little more credit, Kate. We are looking
Let's
at
do
it, we are reading.
And well, that's why I'm saying
Maybe talk.
We are going back to do this, and to hear a simple scammer, it is a little bit
Be little.
condescending, yes. So please, know we are all doing our best to work on this. I am trying to understand what is a given, what is not. It changed our role completely, and we never talked about it. So that, to me, is not a way to go forward as a team. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, and just to finalize my thoughts on it too, is to Kate's point to doing the homework, I would throw it right back to Kate and say, please do that also on your side, not just take that because you're the legal on it, that you know everything on it. Sometimes, listen, in fact, I'm telling you, sometimes it comes across that way to me when you're talking down saying you don't know what you basically feels like that to me. And my point to it is I have done my homework on it. I have talked to people who are sitting attorneys on cities who've given me their advice on a new city. And that's where a lot of this is based off of my discussions with them, saying you need to be very cautious your first year or two of how you distribute that power. And just know that once that power is given, and if there's a reason for that power given, it almost never comes back. Almost never. And they've said that they've seen really, unnecessary problems with cities because of the inexperience of the thought of saying, oh no, this makes sense. Let's do this, and have it come back and bite in the city on that. So that's where I'm basing a lot of my, in recognition that you do have the legal side, just be aware that I'm not just sitting here as a dummy, like just spouting off my opinion on this. Like I've done research on it. I've had hour-long conversations with sitting city attorneys who've given me advice on this, and their biggest advice is just be cautious, just be patient, be cautious your first few years. Don't give away that power, because in our situation, we have a unique situation where we have a retired, fully retired, or an attorney who's giving their advice on things that technically. They were asking me this, what is her her specialty as far as law goes, and it's not specifically this, to be cautious with that too, that a lot of times legal can just assume they're knowing everything. And they were very specific of saying, be cautious with that, be
Right.
careful with that and question it.
I would say be cautious about
Okay,
dealing
well, I'm
with
just,
anywhere,
I'm
but
being, listen, Kate, I'm being so open that I hope that it helps us going forward.
it's helpful.
So that you know where I'm coming from, because there are a few comments you've made today are almost like nefarious and agendas and things like that. It's almost like you're taking so defense on it that you're not taking my real true thoughts on it. My true things on this, I want the very best for why the five of us are sitting here. And do I have an agenda? As far as Ogden Valley goes, sure. Do you have one that's probably a little different than mine? Sure. Is Tia? Sure. But can we bring that together and work the very best we can with having trust that when these things are brought through, I don't have to ask the question that I'm asking now that I still haven't got an answer to. Why? Why did 11 go through without a better explanation to us?
Okay, one final thing,
You got final thing, and then I'm final.
I'm just gonna say final. I think we all have to be cautious with our words. And I apologize if you feel like you're being talked down to, but also be cautious when you say things like, there are some agendas here, or nefarious. So be cautious with your words and let's be respectful.
Use the word nefarious?
Absolutely. So be cautious with your words, because I think we all may say some things we don't really intend.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the last word on number 11, if that's okay, Peggy, because it's your agenda item. Kay and I go back and forth on this. I have been dealing with attorneys my entire professional life. And I remind them that it's our law, not their law. It's their law too. So the plain words are the plain words. So as we're all reading these things, I sent to Christine that document I sent to all you guys back in November that has the statute that is 6-member council and 5-member. Say, Christine, you and what's her name, Leah, the professor, you guys need to understand this as you're helping us get through this thing. So that they can, when we give them our ideas, go, okay, this is the powers that we 5 have. Those are the powers statutorily that the mayor has to help advise us as we're trying to figure this out. Because I have the opinion that your sitting city attorneys have too. Once you give something, it's harder than hell to take away. So understand the law, understand what you want, and the 5 of us will figure out what we want, hopefully by the end of July. Number 12 on the agenda is council comments. We will go in ascending order. Tia, you are District 1.
I brought this up. We have a resident in District 1 who was asking about the signs in District 1, the street signs, how worn and faded they are, and so I don't know how you go about, like, is that going to Weaver County? And
No, it's good. So the way to deal with signs for at large, everyone, is if you see something that needs replaced, as long as it's not where, Peggy? On which roads? State road.
I was gonna start naming them.
We can pass on to UDOT, hey, this is old, fix it. But have people send to Matt Crump, copy me, and say, hey, these signs are, now it costs us, so we'll have to figure that out. But if there's crummy signs out there, let's figure it out, we'll get them.
unreadable.
But if they're on our roads in our city,
So there
we're responsible. We have the money,
can't be a state road.
well, not where you live. There are no state roads where you live. Everyone else has state roads. No, you don't.
I don't know.
You don't have any of Wolf Creek in you. You have no state roads. And you have no state, anything else to you.
That's all.
You're awesome, thank you. Peggy, what you got?
No, I think we're working on the communication with Alan Wheelwright for the North Arm Trail. He responded right away.
Good.
And we're getting some contacts for the Forest Service, so that's good that we can send any concerns to, as other residents ask about that, because it's been a couple of years and people don't know the history behind that, so.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, no problem. I think that's it. The fireworks they're really worried about. They're worried about short-term rental visitors shooting off fireworks. So I don't know how we can make sure, because our code said we have to, or short-term rental should post the fire ordinances. So is there a mechanism we can use to, I don't know if they submit, I didn't notice emails when they have short-term rentals, if we could have a database of those, so when something happens, we shoot out an email to them.
Do you know, Tia, whether or not all the legal ones?
You get-
The business licenses,
The
that
business
Yeah.
licenses are listed.
Do they have an email?
I don't think they have an email. Let me look.
Because if they could, put it on something, that may, if we can't do it for this weekend, because 4th of July is this weekend, but maybe the next time we can be ready for it, to send something out to.
But if we do, then we need somebody to do an email blast to all the businesses saying no fireworks. Including you, short-term rentals.
Right, short-term
So-
rentals needs to be posted, I think it says in our ordinance. It's one of those documents, license numbers, blah, 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 fire restrictions.
There's a physical address,
But no email.
no email address.
I guess the best we can do is see if Jeannie will post some stuff on Ogden Valley News. And maybe we get blasts out through the email blast, but unfortunately, we don't have
On,
good tools. The only flashy electronic sign that I'm aware of is the one over by the Chevron.
Oh, I haven't even seen
They
it.
said they moved.
Are they moving around? And I think it's the
Yeah,
Forest
Services.
Services.
They've been moving it around.
Okay.
And it is the Forest Service.
It is.
It's, Buddy,
Yeah.
Barrett.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the name?
Glen Bear,
No.
Golden Bear.
Golden, thank you.
The fire chief said it is the Forest Services, so. Is our code enforcer gonna be able to run around on the 4th of July?
It's not him, it's the sheriff.
Well, I know, but
I do not think so, it's a weekend,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
yeah. So
so,
that's not gonna be a possibility, but the sheriff will be out and about, and hopefully. That's the worry, you know, people up in Nordic, my neighbors that are calling, and I don't know if that's true along the whole bridge. But they say by the time, you know, it's hard to get a sheriff there.
Mhm.
And that's true of anywhere, Valley's so big, but it's nice, the frequently asked questions was great on the fireworks page, I don't know if you saw that. Kay and Kathy did a great job, it was a big poster, and then it goes to clicking on everything, so that's great. But again, our short-term rental people are probably not gonna see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
anything else? Megan? Thank you. 3,
Fireworks, I keep getting asked questions, signs, let's make some signs, and. I'm more than happy to order some signs, but they cost some money and they take people to distribute. Is there and it takes about 3 days turnaround, maybe a couple would be better. Is there interest in advancing a sign distribution and investment?
So kind of like the campaign signs or something bigger than that?
I think it could be
I mean,
campaign
if we
for.
pull something off and go to like Grizzly graphics down,
Yeah.
they probably could turn it quick enough for us if they'd be the reason.
We
We might wanna do something like that.
I have a resident who, has emailed you for general plan. And she said she uses Richard Signs, but Grizzly Signs might be able to do it for her if she's interested in doing that. But
I'm for it, I'd say spend the money, and I would put them on the dam at the bottom of Trappers Loop.
Four-way.
And at the 4-way and say, no fireworks anywhere in Ogden Valley City, period, dot, in the story, shut up, tell them. I don't know what to say that.
she said, I'm not asking for anybody to do signs, I just want to make sure it's okay to use that design and spread it around.
Or did she send a design to you? What would it be?
It's a design that's being circulated and in.
You can reference the ordinance now, it's ordinance, whatever we just passed, say, city ordinance, no fireworks. Okay.
Yeah, I think, and they have a great, that poster is great, it's probably too detailed for signage. And I'll put together a big red sign that says no fireworks.
Whatever we do needs to be stuckable on the state routes, and that UDOT can get mad at us. I'll say, to heck with you guys.
Yeah.
Let's stick them on the road, stick them at the four-way.
I think that's the easiest
And
way,
who's good-
major intersection.
Who's got the homework assignment?
She wants to use that sign, and it's this sign.
And I don't know who created that, but I don't think.
The person we thought created it, but not created it.
Keep it one that is put on the roadable.
Yeah, I would say that.
That's too-
to read.
Yes, way too hard to read.
And red is.
Firework ban,
Yeah,
ordinance. Fireworks completely banned, ordinance 2026-50.
I don't know if we want to utilize the citizen to do it, but if she's willing to simplify it and do it. I don't know.
Anything would be appreciated, we're separately as a city
Yeah.
putting some signs on major intersections. That will not be that. And then we'll go, but I'll go home and design and get it
You
done.
have the homework assignment? Okay. And do we agree to spend some money doing this? There we
Can
go.
I give it to each of
Yeah,
the assignment?
we could
Each
do
of
that.
us, and give you an
Right.
assignment, sure, and we'll go.
2 or 4 for each of us, and we can put them out.
To put them in our districts.
Yeah, and then pick them up
I
after.
think the important place is that everybody comes up the canyon, over the divide and Trappers Loop, and comes out of the canyon.
And
and
they might be big signs too.
They should be big signs.
Well, we're big, no fireworks.
There we go.
And
Thank you.
inside the city ordinance.
Right, but those are.
Yeah,
We'll put it in Kathy's yard.
and we can use them every
Out
year.
my son.
We can use them every year, we can.
Yes.
Hopefully you invest in
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well,
I know.
Look out for rain, hopefully.
rain, we're gonna have an empty lake and no snow, so be careful. Anything else?
Yes, parades.
Yeah, that's it.
You two guys live in this area. Do you want to be in the Huntsville parade?
Well, that's why I sent that text out, because I hadn't heard any final thing on what we were doing. I think it needs to be. I don't know, I thought it would be more all of us, and I don't know if onesie twosie is a smart thing to do, I don't know, will you tell me your thought?
You can't do both of them. Ours is at 9, Huntsville's is at
Okay.
10.
But I am now available. I will be here on the 4th. So if you wanna, we'll figure out we need to talk to Richard and have him stick us in the parade somewhere.
If you get the approval,
You wanna just get each of us get a vehicle, and
She wants to build a banner for us.
I have.
Kathy's got her in.
I just wanna know if you're doing the Liberty one, you guys can park in my driveway, but you're not gonna come park in. the-
Oh, good,
We
good,
need it for
good,
you.
good.
As long as you
Are we gonna do that because that's our
I'm
year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got, told you I get the candy. Couple-
Yeah, okay.
How many, couple of bags?
for,
I asked her if I could use those.
you may
I
use
put
these.
them on my truck.
And if you want to, we were talking about, we could diminish incorporation and put something else, no fireworks here. Or just hold it up,
That's
or
what I
cut it
was
up,
going to do.
yeah.
Let's fold it under you, being.
Holding it back will be
Yeah, just
fine.
Okay, so let me ask, how, with this, the last minute here. I love that you guys are doing Liberty, as you said, but how big a deal do you think it is that we do it in Huntsville, rather than just being out and about and doing our thing?
I think it's a big deal.
I did, and I agree with you, Kay, but I don't wanna do it halfway with like incorporation at the bottom, I wanna make sure it looks good. I can try to get a vehicle that, is a parade type vehicle that we can, whether it's convertible or whatever, you know how those vehicles are, but I don't wanna do it and make us look cheesy.
What's Huntsville town do it? Do they do one?
Like
They
upgrade.
have a car, like a convertible, I think, they're.
No, they do, and that's what I'm patterning at.
We don't wanna be cheesy behind them. We wanna be as good as they are right
We have
behind
the
them.
best candy in the parade.
Right, we want,
You be in charge of de-cheesing in Huntsville, you get us arranged.
I'll get a hold of Richard and say, hey, can you get us into your parade behind you?
And I'll get the candy.
He will.
I just wanna make sure the time, then I don't wanna, I can possibly.
You know the Liberty Day parade, I don't.
Yeah,
Take
I mean, I
signage
can
and-
take them and see.
It's not like Liberty Day.
I also have some.
Because we're passing, we're Ogden Valley.
The 250.
Oh, nice.
I know, that's
So,
the-
banner
And I guess I could go to city, I could go to big, the next one, city.
Some people can't read.
But-
Well, you're making new
We're
signs.
still on the owl and people.
Okay, we made Ogden Valley City.
To a bunch of fabulous.
Ogden Valley.
We're still public.
Yes, we are. Okay, here we go. Who else? 4, wait, 3,
Yeah.
Done.
4.
mine was exactly okay, I just wanted to know the parade, because I've heard different things, I threw it out there and. I know Penny and Key are doing their thing, and I'm fine doing it. I kind of expected to do it, but I wanna make sure we're doing it good.
With good cheese.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
How's that cheese?
So the three of us will talk about Huntsville.
Yep.
The two of you are talking Liberty. Okay,
And it's not city business, so we're gonna be okay.
okay,
But we're-
anything else, Jerry?
No.
The 4,100, 33, 3,500 discussion about whether or not to modify that. Matt got a hold of me last week and said, it's really not looking like it makes sense to do so. Kathy's happy, and the negative is we leave $2 million or something on the table for something that maybe in the future we should and want to do, but the data, now that Matt's had a chance to get into the data, it's just what we would have to do is spend a whole bunch of the money on doing the studies that should have been done. So Matt's gonna send me some bullets suggesting we don't do it, but I'm just telling you guys that I'm pretty sure I'll pull the plug, or we'll pull the plug. Trails. On the Pineview pathway, over along the long stretch between the middle school and where you turn to go up to wildlife area, there are these steel metal delineators, these posts that you drive when you're riding on the trail. One of them got sheared off, meaning off.
Where you?
Right where you dip past the steakhouse, where you dip down, it got sheared off.
By
Yeah, by Gibson. And you can see tire tracks going down off. A citizen came to me and said he observed an older gentleman on a bicycle hit what was left over, crash off. So what I'm saying to everybody is watch these things, and if you see our trails, something going wrong with them, if nothing else, stick a pylon on these things, but two, let me know so we can get the trails guys going out and fixing. Alan's gonna come with us to a bid on how to fix this delineator, because it's completely sheared off.
That one's metal. The other
That one's metal, right, and that one's designed to be taken off so people can go. The problem with all this, and we need to talk about this some other day, is we're liable if somebody gets injured on our public property. We talked about the stormwater management plan. We talked great, cool. So, is there a agenda item number 12 is closed, any need for a closed meeting? Everyone's going 3 times. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'm going to adjourn.
Second from somebody.
Second. Okay.
Kay was motion, Chad was second, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Unanimous.
It's nice to be unanimous.
Unanimous. So. The three of us-
Man.
Are we done?
All.